It happened 3 weeks after the dinner party. I'd been trying so hard, so impossibly hard, to be good, to be what they needed, to earn back the warmth I'd apparently lost to the crime of having one independent thought. We were in our apartment. Their apartment, really. I'd moved in 2 years ago and never quite moved my soul in with me. And they sat me down. Not angry this time. Worse. Disappointed. The way you'd look at a renovation, that wasn't going to plan. They said, I put so much work into you, into us. I've been so patient with your limitations, your anxiety, your neediness, your lack of social grace. And I just don't see the return on my investment anymore. Work. Into me. Let me say that again so you feel the way I felt it. Asterisk work. Into me. Asterisk like I was a fixer-upper. Like my humanity was a renovation project they'd taken on out of the goodness of their heart. Like love was labor they were keeping receipts for. They continued. You were supposed to be better by now. I saw potential in you, and you've wasted it. You're still the same insecure, difficult person you were when we met. I need you to be my partner, not my project. But you're determined to stay a project. And I sat there, absorbing this, trying to understand how I'd failed so completely at being a human being, how I'd managed to make someone who loved me feel so burdened by my existence. Then they said the sentence that destroyed me and eventually saved me. You're just exhausting. Being with you is exhausting. I need you to be easier, or I need you to be gone. I walked around that apartment that night, this place where I'd spent 2 years becoming smaller, becoming manageable, and I realized I couldn't find a single object that predated them. Not one. My books were their taste. My clothes were what looked good on me. My music, the music that had once saved my life, had been deleted from my phone because it was immature. I sat on the edge of our bed, their bed, and I tried to remember, what did I want before I wanted them to be happy? What did I like before they told me what was acceptable? Who was I before I became their mirror? And I couldn't answer. I literally could not answer. The crown fell that night. Not dramatically. Quietly. I realized I wasn't loved. I was maintained. I wasn't chosen. I was acquired. I was property with a pulse. And I was being evicted for being too much work. There's a saying that goes, asterisk, the fish doesn't know it's in water until it's thrown onto land. Asterisk that night. I felt air for the first time in years. And it felt like dying. I left 3 days later. Or rather, I was left. They went on a trip with friends and told me I should use the time to figure out my shit. I never went back. I couldn't. Something had broken, and I didn't know how to perform anymore. The first week was just void. I stayed on a friend's couch, an old friend, one I'd neglected, one who opened her door without asking why I looked like a ghost. I scrolled job boards for positions I didn't want. I stared at walls. I waited for them to call, to need me, to give me purpose again. And then one night, I found a box. My friend had kept it. In case you ever needed it, she said, and I heard what she didn't say. In case you ever came back to yourself. It was my journals. From before. From college. From my early 20s. From the person I'd been before I learned to edit myself. And I opened one, February 4 years ago, and I read my own voice like a stranger's handwriting. I was funny. I was angry about things. I had opinions, strong ones, about art and politics and what I wanted my life to look like. I had plans. I had boundaries. I had a favorite color, and it wasn't theirs. I read until 4 a.m., crying the way I hadn't allowed myself to cry in years. Not pretty crying. Ugly, heaving grief for the dead crying. Because I was grieving. I was grieving myself. The self I'd abandoned. The self I let them convince me was broken, was too much, was wrong. Somewhere in that void, I stumbled on a concept. I was doom scrolling at 3 a.m., unable to sleep, and I found a term, narcissistic supply, and then trauma bonding, and then reactive abuse. I wasn't crazy. I wasn't broken. I wasn't too much. I was a textbook case of something that had been done to me, not something that was wrong with me. There's a proverb that became my lifeline. Asterisk, when the student is ready, the teacher appears. Asterisk, I wasn't ready for years. But that night, in the wreckage of everything I thought I knew about love, I was finally ready. And the teacher was my own voice, my own words, my own self waiting patiently in a box when we come home. The challenge came not from a guru or a podcast, but from my own journal, from the girl I'd been, writing to the woman I'd become. Don't let them convince you that your boundaries are walls. They're doors, and you get to decide who enters. I made a decision. 30 days. No contact. Not to punish them. Not to make them miss me. But to find out if I still existed without their reflection. To see if I could remember how to want things. How to be difficult. How to take up space. I didn't know if I could do it. I didn't know if there was enough of me left to save. But I knew that if I went back now, if I performed my way back into that cage, I would disappear completely. And this time, there'd be nothing left to find. Day 3. That's when the text came. Hey, I need you. I'm falling apart without you. You're killing me. Please. I read it 100 times. I felt my hand reach for my keys before my brain caught up. The reflex was so strong. They need me. I must go. I am needed. I have purpose. That I was halfway to the door before I stopped. I stood in my friend's hallway, keys in hand, and I felt it. The pull, the addiction, the certainty that my only value was in being useful to them. That without their need, I was nothing. I put the keys down. I picked up my phone, and I typed, my fingers shaking so hard I could barely hit the letters. I can't be that person anymore. I need to find out who I am. I hit send, and then I threw up. The guilt was physical. It was a tsunami. I was cruel. I was abandoning them. I was everything they'd said I was: difficult, selfish, ungrateful. I was killing them. They needed me, and I was saying no. What kind of monster says no to someone in pain? I sat with that guilt for 3 hours. I let it wash over me. I didn't run from it, didn't numb it, didn't call them to make it stop. I just sat, and somewhere an hour or two, something shifted. Nobody died. The world didn't end. And I had 3 uninterrupted hours to do something I'd been promising myself for 8 months. I opened my laptop. I opened the draft folder. And I started. It wasn't good. It was terrible, actually, but it was mine. Every word was mine. No one had approved it. No one had corrected it. It was just me, thinking my thoughts, wanting my wants, being difficult and particular and real. That night, I ordered food. They hated Thai food, too spicy, too weird. So I'd stopped eating it. I ordered pad Thai, and I ate it in bed, watching a movie they would have mocked, wearing pajamas they would have found sloppy. And I felt, for the first time in years, like I was real, like I existed in 3 dimensions, like I wasn't just a reflection of someone else's preferences. The guilt didn't go away, but something else appeared alongside it, something that felt like hope, or maybe just curiosity. Asterisk, who am I when no one is watching? Who am I when no one needs you to be anything? Asterisk. I didn't know the answer, but for the first time, I wanted to find out. That first no, that first terrible, selfish, necessary no, was just the beginning. What came next was harder. The loneliness of boundaries, the rage that surfaced, the people who stopped calling because I stopped performing, but also the return of my voice, the completion of that certification, the side project that finally saw daylight, and the moment, the unbelievable moment, when the company that consumed me came back, not as a savior, but as a client. If you want to know how saying no made me more valuable, how becoming unnecessary finally made me real, you need to see what happened next.